Hello aspirants, welcome to Current Affairs for Beginners by La Excellence. This video will help beginners in reading the Hindu newspaper. Let me give you answers for yesterday's questions. The first question is, while President can pardon a death sentence given under center as well as state laws, Governor can pardon only in case of state laws. This statement is wrong because President can pardon both for center and state. In case of death sentences, he can pardon, that is President. This is correct. But here in this statement they are saying Governor can pardon in case of state laws. But Governor can remit, reprieve, commute in case of death sentences in state laws, but Governor cannot pardon in case of death sentences in state laws. What is this pardoning, remit, reprieve, commute? All these words I'll explain in detail in today's article. But remember, only President has pardoning power of a death sentence. Governor doesn't have pardoning power of a death sentence, and Governor has remaining all these powers in case of state laws, and President have in case of union laws. And the second statement is, President can pardon a sentence by military courts while Governor has no such powers. This is the correct statement because President can pardon a sentence by military courts and Governor has no such powers. So the correct option is B, only 2. The second question is, which among the following is a military communications agreement? The answer is C, Communications Compatibility and Security Agreement. And the topics covered under today's core are Food Safety and Standard Authority of India, Tejas, a fighter jet aircraft, Article 161, GDP, GST, Goods and Services Tax, NPA, Non-Performing Assets, Trade Deficit, and Archeological Survey of India. What is this Doklam issue? Line of Actual Control, and Animal Welfare Board of India. Third party audit of food businesses. Here we have to see what is this Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. This topics comes under GS paper 2, Social Justice, issues related to food, that is hunger and health. Food Safety and Standards Authority of India is established under Food Safety and Standards 2006. And what are the functions of this authority? It will lay down standards for food, and it will regulate the manufacture of food, storage, sale and import of food to other countries, or distribution within the country or outside the country. In all these activities, it will regulate for the availability of safe and wholesome food to human consumption. And under this act, what are the functions? It will frame some regulations for all these activities, how to manufacture the food and how to sell, how to import. For all this, it will set some standards and guidelines, and it will set some standards and guidelines for, that is, food businesses. If there are any business that is related to the food, for that safety management of food, it will set some guidelines or standards, and it will also set some guidelines for laboratories. There is any food laboratories that is going to be established, how these laboratories should be. It will set some guidelines and some procedures how it should be, and it will also provide scientific advice and technical support to the central government and state governments in any matter or in any that has direct or indirect bearing on food safety and any matters related to nutrition. And it will collect data regarding food consumption, how the food is being consumption and what types of food is being consumption and what are the diseases they are getting. Because of all this data will be collected by this organization. It will find out the data whether there are any contaminants in the food. By this, it will identify any emerging risk and will introduce a rapid alert system. That is, first it will collect data about the food consumption and various risks and any contaminants in the food is there or not. If it is there, it will identify the risks with that contaminants and it will introduce the rapid alert system. And this Food Safety and Standards Authority of India creates information network across the country that can reach to the public, consumers and panchayats, because if there is any like this, any alert it have to pass on, so that it is ready with this information network. If there is any alert to pass on, then through this network it will pass on the information about the food safety and any issues of concern. And it will also provide training programs for the persons who are involved to get into food businesses. And it will also provide general awareness about the food safety and standards. That is, what are the main functions of this Food Safety and Standards Authority of India? It will provide or set some guidelines and standards for those like for who start businesses or for any food products or for any importing or for any new laboratories. For all this, it will set some standards and it will collect the data from the food, whether this food is good or not, or whether this food is contaminated and what are the emerging risks, and it will pass on to the public if there is any emerging risks. Thus, it will create general awareness to the public about food safeties and food standards. Tejas clears maiden mid-air refueling trial. Here we have to see what is this Tejas. This is a jet aircraft. And this is the outcome of Light Combat Aircraft program. We have Light Combat Aircraft program that is started in 1983 to replace, we have MiG-21 fighter jets. These are so old. To replace this, we are having this Light Combat Aircraft program, and this Tejas is one of that Light Combat Aircraft fighter jet. And this is having the capability of mid-air refueling and also the capability of long-range missile. And this is a multi-role jet fighter indigenously built by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. And let us see what is this mid-air fueling. This is when the flight or fighter jet is in air, refueling it in the air itself we call as mid-air refueling. And this test recently this have passed this mid-air refueling test, and now they have to test this long-range capability of this Tejas. Clemency question. This topic comes under GS paper 2, Indian polity. Here you have to see about this article 161. What is this article 161? Article 161 of our Indian Constitution gives the power to the governor of the state to pardon anyone. That is, this article gives the governor of the state to possess the pardoning power. Under this article, the governor can grant pardon or reprieve or respite or remit of a punishment or suspend or remit and commute the sentence of any person convicted of any offence against a state law. Remember, all these activities of the governor can be done, or all these powers of the governor only for state laws. Remember this point from prelims perspective. And how the pardoning power of the president under Article 72 differs from the governor. This president has the pardoning power inflicted by court martial, that is, he can pardon the person. This person may be, that is, military courts have sentenced a person to death. President can pardon even that person also, but governor cannot pardon. And the second one is, president can pardon death sentence. That is, if any person is awarded with the sentence of death, president can pardon that, but governor cannot. Now let us see what is this pardon, respite, remit, commute, all these things. First one is pardon. Pardon means it removes both the sentence and conviction and completely absolves the convict from all sentences, punishments and disqualifications. For suppose, according to state law, if a person has given 5 years of imprisonment for a person, or if for a person life imprisonment, and if for a person death penalty. See, governor can pardon this and this, and he cannot do this thing. Means, pardon means completely remove this 5 years of imprisonment, and now he is free of that. That is, the convict is free of this punishment. And if suppose governor want to pardon this life punishment, then the convict is completely away from this punishment or completely free from this punishment. And this only president can do. As we have said, governor cannot pardon death penalty. So if president can pardon this, pardon means completely free of all the punishments. And the second one is commute. Commute means substitution of one form of punishment for a lighter form. That is, if suppose judgment was came and a convict is given death sentence. Now commute what will do? This will decrease the death sentence to life imprisonment. If governor decreased the death sentence to life imprisonment, we call this as commute. That is, commute will change the structure or character of the punishment, whereas remission, it will not change the character. That is, death sentence cannot be reduced to life imprisonment, but what it will do, life imprisonment, if suppose the punishment is for 10 years, remission means governor can reduce that to 5 years. See, pardoning means complete free of, commute means changing the character of the punishment from higher level to lower level, and remit means within the same level changing or decreasing the years, that is from 10 years to 5 years. That is period of sentence without changing the character, we call as remit. And the next one is respite. What is mean by this respite? See, under any certain special facts or any certain special considerations, if they decrease the sentence, then we call as respite. Respite of. The special facts may be if that person is having any physical disability. Then if governor has decreased the punishment, then we call that as respite. And the next one is reprieve. What is this reprieve? It is the stay of the execution of a sentence for a temporary period. For example, if a convict is convicted with or is awarded with death sentence, now governor has given reprieve for this convict. It means this death sentence was stayed for a certain temporary period. Then we call it as reprieve. So this is about pardon, commute, respite, reprieve and remit. Governor has all these powers except pardoning of death sentence, and he can do only on state laws. Remember these 2 points for prelims perspective. Cause for caution. Here we have to see what is this GDP. GDP, and there are some economic basic terms like GST, NPS and trade deficit. What is GDP? This is the gross domestic product, and this is the monetary measure of the market value of all final goods and services that is produced in 1 year. That is, all the goods and services that is produced in 1 year in the country is measured with money, then we call that amount as GDP, gross domestic product. And here there is another term, GST. This is goods and services tax. This is indirect tax. And this replaced all other so many indirect tax we have before this GST. And now all these were replaced, and having one tax, we call this as goods and services tax. This is an indirect tax. What is an indirect tax? See, if you are having income and above certain level of income, you have to pay a tax. Or if you own a house and you have to pay a tax for this. These all comes under direct tax. Or if you buy any goods, like if you buy a car, or if you benefited from a service, for example, you have went to a hotel and they'll have some service charges. This service charges and this, after buying the car, the tax on this, these two are type of indirect tax. And now this GST is the indirect tax. And the next one is non-performing assets. If any person have taken loan for certain amount and this person have not paid either loan or this amount for 90 days, then we call this type of loan or asset as non-performing asset. And the other word is trade deficit. If the imports have increased than the exports, we call this as trade deficit. See, trade means we call imports and exports. If one, that is imports, exceeds, imports means we are buying or the goods that is coming into the country. Exports means the goods that is going out of the country. If the goods that is going out of the country is less when compared to the goods that is coming into the country, then we call that as trade deficit. The one who reached out to China. Here we have to discuss what is this Doklam crisis and also what is this line of actual control. Doklam. It is an area spread over less than 100 square kilometers, and this comprises of plateau and valley, and this is a tri-junction between India, Bhutan and China, and this is surrounded by Chumbi Valley of Tibet and Bhutan's Ha Valley and India state of Sikkim. And this is also located close to the Siliguri corridor. What is this Siliguri corridor? This corridor connects the mainland India with northeastern region. That is, if India is around here, this place we have Siliguri corridor. This is mainland India and northeastern region. This place connects northeastern region with mainland India. This is Siliguri corridor, and this Doklam plateau is near to the Siliguri corridor, and this Siliguri corridor is also known as Chicken Neck corridor. And this is the geographical, that is from geographical perspective, that is GS1 perspective. This is some points about Doklam plateau and why this Doklam is in news and what is this Doklam crisis. See, in 2017, China military forces have stood here for around 2 months in this Doklam plateau. This is we call as Doklam crisis. And what is the effect to India because of this standoff by China? As I've said, Doklam plateau here is near to this Siliguri corridor. If Chinese troops can take this Doklam plateau area and there is threat to this Siliguri corridor area, and if they can capture these two, then it will be a very big problem because this place only connects northeastern region with India. So we call this as Doklam crisis. And the next one is line of actual control. During British rule, we have two borders between India and China were proposed. The first one is Johnson's Line, which was proposed in 1865, and there is a place Aksai Chin in Jammu and Kashmir. According to this Johnson's Line, this area was under the control of India. But there was another proposed line, that is Mcternan Line, in 1893, and this proposes the area was, this Aksai Chin area was under Chinese control. See, suppose this is Aksai Chin area. If suppose this is China, this is the Mcternan Line saying this Aksai Chin area belongs to China, and this is this Johnson's Line saying Aksai Chin area belongs to India. India considers this Johnson's Line as the boundary line between India and China considers this Mcternan Line as the boundary between India and China. At present, line of actual control is the line separating Indian areas of Jammu and Kashmir from Aksai Chin area. Casting capers. Menaka says animals in wrong role. Here you should know about this body, that is Animal Welfare Board of India. This topic comes under GS paper 3, Environmental and Ecology. And this Animal Welfare Board of India is a statutory body established in 1962 under Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act 1960. Remember this year and the act. Sometimes there will be prelims questions, some factual questions. So remember this act. This is the statutory body under Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act 1960, and before this was under Ministry of Food and Agriculture, but this animal welfare subject was transferred to Ministry of Forest, Environment and Climate Change. So now this board also functions under Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. What are the functions of this Animal Welfare Board of India? First one, it will recognize animal welfare organizations. If any organization have met with the guidelines that is proposed by this board, then it will give recognition to these animal welfare organizations, and then it will give financial assistance to these animal welfare organizations, and it will frame animal welfare laws and rules, and it will suggest changes to any existing animal welfare laws and rules for the welfare of animals. And the fourth one is it will raise awareness by issuing or by some publications about the animal welfare issues. What are the issues with this animal welfare and how can it be rectified? Changes in ASI Act opposed. Here we should see what is this Ancient Monuments and Archeological Sites and Remains Act 1958, and we should also see what is this Archaeology Survey of India. Let us see this act first. This is an act of Parliament of India that provides for the preservation, that is to preserve the ancient and historical monuments and archaeological sites and any remains of national importance. For these three, that is monuments or sites or any remains of national importance, and to regulate these and any archaeological excavations and to protect these, and along with this to protect any sculptures or any carvings or any other objects. This act was enacted, and with this act only this Archaeological Survey of India functions. That is, this body regulates all the archaeological activities as per the provisions of this act. And this is a premier organization that does two things. The first one is it will do archaeological researches and it will protect the cultural heritage of the country. For two things, this is the premier organization for the archaeological researches and for the protection of cultural heritage of the country, and it will maintain the archaeological sites and ancient monuments and remains of national importance. So many of us having the doubt, see some places like Taj Mahal, Charminar or Qutub Minar or some Buddha statues, all these, who will maintain this or who will regulate this? We know government, but which, under which, will be having a doubt. That is, this body, Archeological Survey of India, will preserve and protect this archaeological sites, monuments and remains of national importance, and this is headquartered at New Delhi, and this was established during British rule in 1861 by Alexander Cunningham, and this functions under Ministry of Culture, and it also regulates Antiquities and Art Treasuries Act 1972, and this topic comes under GS paper 1, Art and Culture, and you can expect a prelims bit about this, like Archaeological Survey, when it is founded and by whom and what are the functions of this. Try to answer today's questions. The first question is, which among the following statements are true about Tejas? This is a light combat aircraft designed by DRDO in collaboration with ISRO. It is the product of India's Integrated Guided Missile Development Program. Try to answer this question. The second question is, consider the following statements about Archaeology Survey of India. It was founded during British rule in India by William Jones, and the second statement is, it is an attached office of the Ministry of Culture. Try to answer these questions, and the detailed explanations of these questions will be given to you in the next core video, and you can access our core notes at www.loix.in/CivilsPrep. Thank you.